So anyways, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're gonna be diving back into my R6 project today. And what we're gonna focus on today is getting the radiator out. We're gonna get the fuel tank all the way off. And we're just gonna keep stripping the bike down a little bit. I talked to my buddy who does powder coating. He's ready to powder coat the frame and everything. So since he's gonna do all that, I guess we are gonna tear it all the way down. We'll go ahead and get the motor out of it. We're basically just gonna split it into as many pieces as possible. I've never gone this far into tearing a bike apart. So come along for the ride, it'll be fun. And yeah, the DRZ got a new wrap. First time wrapping that. I didn't make a video on it because I was gonna basically wrap one side and then make the video on the other side, but yeah. I'm gonna have to rewrap it anyways. It didn't come out the greatest on the one side, so whatever. Cross that bridge at a later date. Is what it is. We'll get right into it. I had my GoPro helmet cam on, but I don't know if I'm going to use the footage. I was going to just time lapse removing the radiator and how to do it. I'm not gonna go through a full detailed step-by-step thing, but I do just want to show a couple quick highlight points in case somebody has to do it and they're having problems and they're already watching this video. Instead of having to find another one, you'll find two fan connectors. Oh, let me get the camera in the right spot. You'll find two fan connectors. They're clipped in this black wiring section right here. They're just held up right there. There's one on each side of the bike, look just like this. You need to take the lower radiator hose off. To get it all the way off, I have to unbolt it from this mount down here. You're gonna have water drain out, so just keep a drain pan underneath you, obviously. And then you have one mounting bolt right here for the radiator. You have another one, it's kind of hard to see, down here in the center that you have to take out. And then you'll have one, I already took this one out, right here on the opposite side that you'll have to take out. And then these module will have, Jesus, sorry. I have the tripod hooked up and I don't take it off. You have two 10mm bolts that bolt this module onto the side of the radiator. You have the same two 10mm bolts that hold the water reservoir in on the other side. You have to take this hose off, which also water will come out. So make sure you have another drain pan. Then once you have that, the radiator will just kind of fall forward. You pull it out the side, and then the radiator will be out of the bike. All right, I switched modes. We're gonna try the zoomed out mode on the iPhone because I use my iPhone 12 Pro Max to record with. And the normal 1.0 lens is just really zoomed in my garage, so it's hard to show you guys stuff without messing up. So the final thing we're going to do in this video, well, we might do some smaller stuff, but the last big thing we're going to do is we're going to show you how to remove the fuel tank. Now, a couple notes about this. Preface this going in, disconnect your battery for sure. If you're taking the fuel tank off for any reason and not just flipping it back, you might as well just disconnect the battery. It's really easy, and you don't want somebody to come in here and flick your bike on and the fuel pump primes and you got fuel in the rails because this bike has two rails. Then what'll end up happening is you'll do what I did the first time I took the tank off because my idiot self primed it right before I was gonna remove the tank for some reason. Oh, I started the bike. That's what it was. And then you go to unhook the fuel rail and you forget there's pressure in it and you spray fuel everywhere. So preface this by saying you probably wanna let the bike sit for a little while before you do this so it'll depressurize the rails. Other than that, once you get the fairings off, the fuel tank's really, really easy. You have one bolt, main bolt here in the side. You'll have another main bolt right here in the side. And then you'll have a bolt up here, but my bolt I also use to hold the fairing in. So once the fairing's off, this bolt's already out. And then you'll have a bolt back here that basically holds the bushing and pivot point for the tank. Now, you don't have to take that rear bolt out if you're just gonna swing the tank up to do maintenance. Whether that's the fuel pump or, whatever. If you just need to get under there and change the air filter or whatever, you just need to get under there and look at a few things, then you won't need to pull this rear bolt right here. However, if you're taking the tank off completely, you have to pull this rear bolt. When you get under here, there's gonna be two vent lines, a couple connectors, and a few other things we need to take off. But let me get the tank up and we'll address those here in just a minute. Okay, now that we have the fuel pump tilted, or the fuel pump, now that we have the fuel tank tilted back, I'm gonna show you what you need to remove to actually just pull the tank straight off the bike. There's going to be two vent lines for the fuel tank. There's going to be one main feed line from the fuel pump to the fuel rails, and two connectors you need to take out. So my fuel lines, or my vent lines were ghetto on this bike. They were broken. So like mine just slide out of these little holders. I'm gonna redo this obviously, but yours, you'll wanna take these little clips right here, squeeze them, pull the clips off, pull the two lines off. Don't worry, no fuel's gonna come out of here. As long as your system's operating properly, if you see fuel coming out of here, there's a problem. There was an overflow or one of the valves is stuck. Something in there has gone wrong. These are basically just if something goes wrong, or if it gets overfilled or overpressurized, yada, 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 a bunch of different things. Fuel will dump out of these under the bike. And then you have this main feed line right here. Again, I don't know if mine's factory or ghetto. It's just clamped onto the, yeah, I don't know. But I'm gonna disconnect mine right here off the main fuel rail. And then you have these two electrical connectors. And then once you slide the rear bolt out, the whole tank will just lift off the bike. Okay, so you've got the gas tank off here. You'll notice if you do it properly and you don't prime it, no fuel leaks out. Mine's just chilling over there on the table. The last thing we're gonna cover in this video is actually I'm just gonna go ahead and remove the airbox because it's super quick, because the next step in taking the bike apart after you get the airbox out gets into some stuff you need to pay attention to, because you need to figure out, you'll need to pay attention to like routing for the wiring harness and where all the nuts and bolts go. Like, it's common for people to remove the fuel tank and the airbox and stuff like that. It's uncommon for people to have to maintenance their bikes and they're gonna strip the whole thing down to the bare frame. So I wanna get a little bit more in depth when we get into that far, show you some tips and tricks of how to take it apart so that you know how to put it together properly, yada, yada, yada. So with the airbox, it's pretty simple. There'll be a connector here. You need to take the fuel line off here. There'll be this main connector here. The airbox comes apart in this bike in two pieces, the top shell and then the bottom shell, which we'll cross into here in a minute. I'll put the helmet cam on and take it all the way apart and show you how all that works. And then there's a breather hose here. I don't remember on this bike because I just did my buddy's ZX6R and it was a little bit different. There might be one more breather hose in the front when you start to take the box off, but I'm not sure. We'll cover that in a minute. So I'm gonna put the helmet cam on. I'll strip the whole thing down, time lapse that so you can see it, and then we'll wrap this video up. So that's that. I threw the time lapse in before this because with the helmet cam on, I'm hoping, I haven't checked the footage yet. I filmed this after it. I haven't uploaded it yet, but I'm hoping that you can see kind of how to take the airbox apart. So necessarily I can use that going forward and I'll have to stop and try and explain every little detail. But you see the airbox is off, everything's open. I'm gonna get some paper towels and seal my throttle bodies off, but we're gonna end this video here because the next one, like I said, is gonna get pretty in-depth. It's going into territory of stuff that I haven't done, so be a bit of a learning curve for all of us. And see you in the next one.